I've been seeing a lot of posts on official forums and Reddit, as well as in-game chat where people are asking how to draft. The new season is about to start and I thought this is probably the best time to put out a no-nonsense guide to drafting. Blizzard have already provided excellent information for beginners and those who are unfamiliar with the draft format, so I highly recommend checking that out. Okay, so you've gotten into a game, the map has been displayed and you're pumped to get the best draft possible. You look at where your name is on the side and you see that you're last pick. Don't worry, this is a team game and there always has to be someone who is last pick, even if it's 7 times in a row. Now the most important things to ask yourself as the first ban phase starts. What heroes are good on this map? Do we need good wave clear? Do we need a global? Do we need poke? Is there a focus on camps? What heroes do we need to deny the enemy? And what is the meta right now? There's a lot of questions and most of these should be answered in your head pretty quickly as you become more familiar with the maps and the strategies used on them. Let's say your team has first pick on Cursed Hollow. An option might be to ban out Dehaka, a strong global hero, and take Falstad for yourself. Now I'm not saying this is the absolute correct choice. There's lots of ways to go about drafting and you will need to understand the current meta and what is strong at that given moment in order to make a strong ban. So to put it simply, I'm not here to tell you what to pick and when, but I will guide you into a mindset where you can start to effectively think about the draft. Now often what can happen in a silly draft is that the first 3 picks will pick assassins and leave the last 2 to tank and support. The 2 roles that assume to be unfun because you're not doing big numbers. But that's a different issue entirely. The point is that if you pick 3 assassins at the start of the draft, you've given away valuable information to the enemy. You've told them what kind of damage you'll be focusing on, whether you have any poke or burst or whatever, the list goes on. Once again, it's not necessarily wrong to do, but at higher ranks, if the enemy team sees that you've picked a bunch of squishy assassins, you're gonna be punished hard. So the first 3 picks have chosen their lovely assassins and now you are last picking with another player to fill the 4th and 5th hero slot. Right now the support role hasn't been filled and the main tank role hasn't been filled. And you have chosen to decide to wait till the end to tell the team that you don't play support or tank. There are so many things wrong with this draft. The first being that the first 3 heroes picked all squishy assassins. The second being that you didn't communicate with the team throughout the draft till right at the end. The third is that you just stated that you don't play support or tank in solo queue hero league. If you cannot fill 2 out of 3 basic required roles for the draft, you should not be in hero league and instead you should be aiming to expand your hero pool and becoming comfortable on multiple roles. There are certain roles that we all excel at. I'm not saying that I'm the best tank player in EU or whatever, but if my team requires it, then I will for sure do it. So what do you expect from a draft? All in all, you absolutely without a doubt need at least 1 main tank, 1 main support and 1 range damage. This to me is the basic foundation to any draft. With this foundation you can create most comps such as double tank or double support, poke comps, dive comps, etc. To put it in perspective, let's say you wanted to draft an Illidan. You will still need those 3 roles, plus something like a Tassadar or Tyrael or Zarya. So now you have the foundation in your mind, you can start to think about which heroes fit the draft the best, but also fill the roles that are required for the map and to best counter the enemy. Let's look at an example draft on Brax's Holdout. We have Sonya, Zarya, Gul'dan, Vala and Oriel. In this map and many other maps there is a solo laner required. This role is outside of the 3 I mentioned before, but is also super important. Here we have Sonya. She's considered fairly decent and is a good choice on this map as she successfully filled the solo laner role. But the problem isn't her. If you look at the rest of the team, do you notice anything strange? Ding ding ding! That's right, we have a Zarya solo tanking for the 4-man on the bottom lane. Once again, I will repeat myself, I am not saying this could never work. However, despite Zarya being labelled as a warrior, she does not fill the main tank role. She has no CC, no peel, and therefore is not a threatening presence if alone on the front line. This is just an example of how the foundation of the draft is clearly non-existent, which actually led to a quick loss. So the start of the draft should usually consist of heroes that do not have many hard counters and are generally accepted as a solid standalone choice without knowing what the enemy is going for. This is why in pro play you almost see that there's at least 1 tank or support in the first 3 picks, and I highly recommend doing that too. So generally speaking, the start of the draft should be heroes best suited for the map and at least one tank or support. The second ban phase is where you should have a very small idea of what your team doesn't want to play against based on what you have already picked or what the enemy has picked, sometimes both. This is also the time where your team can start to think about more of the niche picks, where there is little room to be countered due to how late it is in the draft. You may be asking, well, how do I know what hero is good on this map, or what hero counters the enemy? You may not like this answer, but both questions can be answered by doing some research online or by simply asking around. If you're looking at hero guides such as the ones in my No Nonsense series, they should usually state when the hero should be picked or provide a general idea of their strengths and weaknesses. Also, as time goes by and you become more familiar with the game, you will pick things up. For example, you will know that when you play X hero, you will feel countered by Y hero, and so next time you see the enemy pick X hero, you will remember that Y is a good counter. There's many ways you can find the answers, you just have to put a little bit of effort into finding them. So to summarize, make sure you can fill all the basic roles before entering Hero League. Make sure to not pick the same types of damage all at the start of the draft. Try to understand what your team requires for the map, and also try to counter the enemy's strategy as best you can. One more thing, prevent your own draft from being hard countered by not showing niche picks too early. This is as much generic information I can provide without making this guide go on for too long. Hopefully we've kept out most of the nonsense, and if this has helped you even in the slightest, well, then that's really great and I'll consider that a success. If you guys enjoyed the video and want to see more, click on the other no nonsense guides on the screen. And if you want to see even more of me, then make sure to catch me on Twitch to see high ranked gameplay. Till next time guys, see ya!